Part 10. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 91. The next day, 99 5-person teams, led by the priests, gathered in the God Sacrifice Square. Yuan Qing, who usually did not take care of much, also asked Xinyao to give orders, and a group of bright-looking, white-haired, and childlike old people gathered together to chat. Normally, it would not be easy for them to be so neat. Zhang Zizai came here early in the morning. The 5 of them gathered together, and in front of them was the 9 immortals who were dressed to perfection. No one in the entire sacrificial temple was more dazzling than her. The remaining priests who were not qualified to participate could only look at these 500 or so boys and girls with envy. They were the most elite disciples of the major priests. In fact, the strength of the priests under each priest is not the same. For example, some priests have many powerful geniuses, but there are only 5 places, so the 6th person is a pity. Their strength may be stronger than the 2nd and 3rd players on other teams. For example, Ruo Xiaoyu. I heard that among these people, the lowest realm is only the 6th level of martial life realm. I'm at the mystic vein realm, but I'm not eligible to participate. This rule is really ridiculous. Why does every priest have 5 quotas? There are differences between priests and priests. Many of the teenagers watching were complaining about this rule. This is not the worst for you. It is said that the only one under the 9 immortals priest did not enter the mysterious vein realm. Instead, a 6th level martial life realm entered. That Dongyang Sheng is the one who wants to cry. Tear. That priest has always acted as he pleased. Those who choose to become her priests are the fools. Various discussions took place among the priests. Nanggong Shuiying, who has the Blizzard Kunpeng Totem, and Yang'el, who has the Killing Halberd Totem, are both at the 3rd level of the mysterious vein realm and are the most popular candidates. Especially Nanggong Shuiying, who also has Yu Chaiwei, such a warrior. The Black World team under Priest and Ran also has a very good chance of winning. They all come from a group of clans, so they must have the best cooperation, and the environment in Kirishima is very suitable for them. After all, this competition is not all about strength. Competition, mentality, luck, etc. It is said that Shen Qingyu, who works under Priest Jin Yuxuan, is also very powerful. He is a talisman master and a disciple of Yuan Qing Xiaoyushan. This time he participated in the war. All the talismans on his body have been verified and are all his own works. Coupled with his own strength, he should also be popular. Not only that, but also, the eyes of the priests were focused on the most shining young girls. Bai Shenjin was in the crowd and saw the girl surrounded by 4 teenagers. They were full of confidence. The girl who usually looked very cold was chatting with her friends at this time, and she made cute smiles from time to time. She would never go among this crowd to find a young man with whom she had severed ties. Zhang Zizai patted Bai Shenjin on the shoulder and said, "Look ahead. Clear." Although he said this, Bai Shenjin must have an extremely strong goal in his heart, and his dignity must be recovered. Thousands. Suddenly someone shouted, and they looked towards the source of the sound. It turned out to be Wan Sha from the Black World team. A total of 5 people were present, and next to them was the priest and Ran. "You're actually here? You're actually going to participate in the Battle of Kirishima?" Wan Sha couldn't believe it. He looked at Wan Qian and then at Zhu Xian. He understood. The 9 Immortals priest was indeed ready to join in the fun. Wan Qian glanced at him and ignored him. "Tell the people in your team that when the time comes, go in and give us the sacrificial flag first. You can keep the spiritual stones for next month." Wan Sha was a little arrogant. Juxian looked back at him and said to Enran, "Take your puppy away. If it dares to bite a classmate in our class, be careful to castrate him." Enran smiled and said, "Don't be serious with the children, but Kirishima is a dangerous place after all, and you are too childish. Xuanhua, after you go in, if you encounter them, you still have to protect them, you know. Xuanhua remembered that he was slapped and then crawled out of the 9 Immortals pavilion with his butt stuck out, and his heart was filled with anger. He endured it and gritted his teeth and said, "Yes, priests, we will definitely protect them." After saying that, all of them left. At this time, the Xinyao divine attendant had already begun to distribute the sacrificial flags and ascension talismans. The priests all went up and received a small flag and 5 talismans. Wang Qian, although you are a waste, you are still one of the best in your team. Wang Qian took another look and smiled again. Who is your leader? Zhang Zizai glanced at him and said, "It's your father and me. You're not that trash who doesn't even dare to fight. That's your dad too." Zhang Zizai, Xuanhua's face was gloomy. "Be careful what you say. Here, you can be a coward, but in Kirishima, you have nowhere to escape." Zhang Zizai burst out laughing. He waved his hand and said, "You must not be mentally retarded, right? I hold the Ascension Talisman in my hand. If you want to hit me, I will use the Ascension Talisman. It can also make you murder your own father." Xuanhua bit his lip. There were not many priests yet, and he spoke so freely in front of him. He thought he could do it several times in a second, but at this time, he definitely couldn't do anything. "Kirishima, just wait and see if you have a chance to use the Ascension Talisman," Xuanhua said through gritted teeth. "Idiot, get out of here. Stop chirping like a fly." Zhang Zizai was too lazy to pay attention to him, and waved his hand with an impatient look on his face. Xuanhua grinned and walked away with the team. "Boss, didn't the priest say that idiot is used to describe handsome people? Why do you say Xuanhua is handsome?" Lu Dingxing was a little puzzled. How could he explain? Zhang Zizai could only tell the truth. "Later, the priest told me that it means to describe a fool." "Then don't I mean you are a fool?" Lu Dingxing widened his eyes. "Hey, the priest is too cunning, and it's hard to guard against." "Who said bad things about me?" As soon as the voice fell, Juxian came. She held a small white flag in her hand and handed it directly to Zhang Zizai, saying, "Here, this is our class's mobile red flag. Don't let it flow to other classes. By the way, bring the mobile red flags of other classes to our class." He really lied with his eyes open. This is clearly a mobile white flag. Do you know why it is white? I don't know. Raise the white flag and hand it over to the enemy, that's surrender, haha. Every time she speaks, it really makes people confused. Zhang Zizai really wants to ask her where she is from and why there are so many weird things. Then, each person receives a Ascension Talisman. This name is really unlucky. Ascension means death. She complained while handing it out. "Classmates, there are many people who look down on your teacher. In this final exam, you must fight for your teacher and win the first place in the grade, so that your teacher can slap the faces of other teachers. Do you have confidence?" "Yes." No matter what she says, just nod. Inspired by the heart-wrenching words of the 9 Immortals, the Star God servant also announced that they would set off immediately. Horses were already prepared outside. They would first ride horses to the seaside town Donghai City east of Yanlongxiu, and then take a boat out to the sea to the mysterious place, Wushima. In fact, the entire Yanlong ruins is paying attention to the major events of the Sacrifice Temple. Even in the king city of Daejiang, thousands of miles away, they are paying attention. So when they walked out of the Sacrifice Temple and rode on their war horses, there were still many people watching outside. Of course, when the Sacrifice Temple was dispatched, the roads along the way had been blocked, and people could only stretch their necks outside to watch. Are these the priests of the Sacrifice Temple? For the sake of the human race, worshipping the ancient gods is really a great merit. If there were no ancient gods, where would we live? This world is originally the world of source beasts. Ancestors, lingering on, Fortunately there are ancient gods. If my son could become a totem warrior, if he had talent, he would be able to enter the sacrifice temple. But I heard that many talented young people now choose the Holy Dragon Palace and other institutions, and the disciples of the sacrifice temple are not as strong as before. This is true. The descendants of the royal family are too terrible. The priests recruited by the sacrifice temple from the people are still much worse than the royal family in the end. I heard that in this 6 prefectures festival, the sacrifice temple not only has no chance of winning first place, but even second or third place is impossible. This is because other schools have been expanding very strongly in recent years and have specially cultivated top young talents. The management of the sacrifice temple is a bit loose and not strict enough. As a place for worshipping gods, it is indeed worthy of respect, but as a school, it seems too relaxed and too free. I'm afraid this is also the reason for its current decline. So, a training camp was held before the 6 prefectures festival. This is a last-minute effort. The people didn't know that all their discussions were heard clearly by the star god servant. She didn't speak, her face was cold. The team started to set off. Unexpectedly, 2 people suddenly appeared from the side, making everyone quiet immediately. Zhang Zizai suddenly heard someone say, "Princess Shenxiao, why are you here?" Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 92. Princess Shenxiao. Zhang Ziben was still talking to Baishan Jin and the others when he suddenly heard these 4 words. He looked to the left and saw the people making way for a road. 2 people appeared there, one of whom was Princess Shenxiao riding the golden dragon horse. Behind her, there was a woman in a black dress, riding a black horse, wearing a cloak, and hiding in the darkness. Her appearance and temperament could not be seen clearly, but her figure was very explosive, with a protruding front and a curved back, and the amplitude was even more exaggerated than that of Juxian. Judging from her identity, she should be the one protecting Princess Shenxiao. Master Divine Servant, I want to go to Wuodao with the disciples to watch the competition and tests of the disciples. Please allow me, Master Divine Servant. When Princess Shenxiao came out, she got off the horse first, very respectfully, and the etiquette was very thoughtful. Xinjiao Divine Servant was obviously a little surprised. She glanced at the woman in black dress behind Princess Shenxiao, then looked at Princess Shenxiao, and asked, "Is this the intention of Emperor Yanlong or the intention of the Holy Dragon Palace?" Princess Shenxiao said, replying to Lord Shenqi, "It is my own idea." Star God Shi turned around and said a few words to Shen Yuanqing next to him. "She came here openly. If I refuse, it will seem that our sacrifice temple is too stingy. She is the most important disciple of the 6 prefectures grand meeting. Let her see the performance of our disciples first, which is beneficial to her," Zhu Shen said. When they just said this, Princess Shenxiao suddenly said, "Lord Shenqi, please rest assured. Aunt Qin and I are on the Fog Island. We will only watch one person. The Shenqi can let someone accompany us. We will definitely not make trouble." Watch only one person? What does this mean? Some of the disciples naturally knew that Princess Shenxiao came to find Zhang Zizai some time ago, and the descendants of the 2 enemy families had met. The Shenqi might know about this matter. While speaking, Princess Shenxiao finally found Zhang Zizai in the crowd. Her eyes were gentle, somewhat happy, and seemed a little guilty. "No problem, you can follow me. The Fog Island is dangerous. Please Qin Zhen protect the princess. We all have important tasks, and we are not entertaining you well." Xinjiao Divine Servant nodded. After getting permission, Princess Shenxiao was very happy, and hurriedly thanked him, saying, "Don't worry, Divine Servant, I will definitely take responsibility for my own safety." In this way, Xinjiao Divine Servant ignored her. She said to Jushin, "When we get to Wuodao, you will watch them. Qin Zhen, you can handle it." Jushin nodded. She is going to follow Zhang Zizai, right? Probably. Princess of the royal family, what's going on? It is said that they were very good playmates in their childhood. So good that you risk being disliked by Long Yin to come to him. I'll observe and see if there is something fishy going on. Zhu Shen glanced at Princess Shenxiao. At the same time, the hot Qin Zhen behind Princess Shenxiao also glanced at Zhu Shen, as if she knew all his thoughts. Amid the curious eyes of the people and the worshippers, Princess Shengxiao's golden dragon horse really came towards Zhang Zizai. Try harder and try to get her this time, Zhu Xian smiled softly in his ear. Zhang Zizai suddenly had a headache. He had made it clear that he would never try her crooked ideas. He didn't expect that Princess Shenxiao would follow him this time. Move aside and let them be alone, Zhu Xian said to Ruo Xiaoyu and the others. Lu Dingxing and the others didn't really understand, but they still moved away a little. As a result, the team was clearly moving forward, but there was a certain vacuum around Zhang Zizai and Princess Shenxiao. It seemed as if the entire team was escorting the two of them. I know you might blame me, but I still want to follow and see. After Princess Shenxiao came to Zhang Zizai's side, she lowered her head slightly, a little afraid to look at him. Zhang Zizai asked her not to come to him next time, but she still came, and in public. Are you really not afraid? If you get close to me, your entire family will cause trouble for you. Zhang Zizai was of course a little unhappy. I know, but I told them that I came to secretly watch the skills of your disciples of the sacrifice temple and understand the opponents for the 6 prefectures festival, he. Then why are you so close to me now? I told them that I was being mysterious and hiding my real purpose. Princess Shenxiao stuck out her tongue, a little cute. It sounds really smart. Anyway, no matter how close she got to Zhang Zizai and how she talked to him, at least the Holy Dragon Palace and the royal family thought that she was just trying to cover up her true purpose. As the saying goes, knowing yourself and knowing your enemy will ensure victory in 100 battles. She said that she wanted to prepare for the 6 prefectures grand meeting, and the Holy Dragon Palace naturally agreed. She thought of so many ways, just to stay by his side openly. Brother Zizai, you wouldn't dislike me for thinking of so many ideas, would you? I heard that you are going to Kiri's Hima. I heard that the scenery of Kiri's Hima is very beautiful. I have never been to any place except the great Zhongqing city. I also want to go and see it. I haven't been anywhere since I was 6 years old. She felt a little wronged. The Lord God's servant said you can go, so of course you can go. Then will you hate me following you? Princess Shenxiao asked expectantly. Zhang Zizai pursed her lips and could only shake her head. That's great. Her pretty face was filled with a happy and satisfied smile. Actually, I heard that Kiri's Hima is very dangerous. I was afraid that something might happen to you, so I brought Aunt Qin with me. She is my mother's personal bodyguard. She is very powerful. Her mother seemed to be called concubine Su. She seemed to be a weak woman in her memory. She seemed to have only seen her once, so Zhang Zizai was not impressed. While they were talking, countless people and disciples from the temple looked at them talking and laughing. The key is that Zhang Zizai has a cold attitude, as if Princess Shenxiao is always trying to please him. What's going on? Wan Sha couldn't figure it out at all. There was a girl next to him who was in his team, her name was Yu Han. She also had some green lines on her body, which was very strange. She was a dangerous person. She frowned and said, "It's strange. Prince Zilan's family and Emperor Yanlong's family are in such dire straits. How can the descendants of their families talk like this?" Wan Sha said, "Besides, why does it seem that Princess Shenxiao likes him quite a lot? Is this Princess Shenxiao crazy? Is she not afraid of being kicked out of the house? There is no benefit at all in being involved with Zhang Zizai. People who think like them make up the majority." Zhu Xian occasionally looked back at them. Seeing boys and girls of the same age, One walked forward coldly, and the other talked from time to time. The girl looked at the boy with eyes that were ignorant and clean of youth and love. It seemed that they were really a match made in heaven. Is this little guy so charming? Even the 9 immortals couldn't figure it out. If we keep going like this, it will be easy to get into bed. I really don't know what kind of games they played in their childhood. Lu Dingxing and Ruo Xiaoyu also couldn't figure it out. Panda, why do I feel that Princess Shenxiao seems to like her brother a little bit? Lu Dingxing thought for a while and said, it's a bit, right? I have an impression that when I was a child, your brother threw me away when the princess came. You were still young at that time, so you probably forgot that he also threw you away. That's too much. Lu Dingxing wondered, won't she change after so many years? Many people are no longer the same selves when they grow up. I don't know, I haven't changed anyway. Me neither, Lu Dingxing said. But he knew who had changed. Still miss him. Xuanhuan. Thinking of him, Lu Dingxing didn't have the hatred of the sword god K, only the joy of playing together over the mountains and ridges in his childhood. Thinking of those joys, he understood Princess Shenxiao a little bit. At that time, I was really carefree and had no idea what hatred was. Now, Princess Shenxiao still looks as clean and innocent as before. Unknowingly, a day later, Donghai City arrived. The war horses were stored in the Temple of Sacrifice, and they boarded the huge warship Sacrifice God and set off from Kiri's Hima in the endless sea to the east. There is also Kanghai in the south, but it is farther away. Zhang Zizai saw the sea for the first time. For the first time, I felt that I was so small compared to the world. Yanlong Ruins is only a day's journey away from here, but Princess Shenxiao has never been here before. Watching her excitement and joy when facing the sea, watching her running and jumping on the beach with bare feet, watching her youthful and energetic face blooming like a flower under the morning light. This image coincides with the little girl from childhood. Zhang Zizai felt a little excited. Of course, the gap in reality is too deep, really, only a little bit. Only a little bit. Xiao Zhao. It's time to go to bed. Oh no, it's a boat, Zhang Zizai cursed in his heart. Damn it, he was brainwashed by the 9 immortals, so he mistook both the boat and the bed. Okay. The girl's face was slightly red, and she lightly stepped on her feet and jumped to his side. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 93. The God Sacrifice is the work of the top Totem spiritual master of the Sacrifice Temple. The Totem spiritual master carved the totem patterns on the warship, making it more stable and able to ride the wind and waves. It was just a piece of cake. Totem patterns are not only useful in weapons and talismans. For example, the Black family also carves totem patterns on their skin. The God Sacrifice is engraved with totem patterns. It is not a sailboat, but powered by spiritual stones. Even a totem martial artist can use true energy to drive the God Sacrifice forward. Therefore, the sacrifice is actually very huge. With hundreds of people staying on it, it is still very spacious. There are nearly 200 rooms in the cabin. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Yuan Qing and the priests naturally had the privilege of enjoying themselves. During the journey, they each had a single room, while the priests had a harder time, with each team having only one room. It was the first time to take a boat. Even these totem warriors felt a little uncomfortable in this rickety environment. Not to mention practicing, just taking out the classics and reading them gives me a headache. It is said that it takes 3 days to reach Kiri's Hima, so during these 3 days, there are still people who are seizing the time to sprint, such as Lu Dingxing and others. Occasionally, they would have fun, and Bai Shenjing quietly took out his mahjong and had a great time. It's late at night. Boss, why didn't the priest let you go to her room alone? Bai Shenjin asked. I must be jealous, Ruo Xiaoyu said firmly, then threw a wooden block on the ship's deck and said, 9 items. Touch, Bai Shenjin smiled. In fact, after practicing, occasionally relaxing and combining work and rest can have good results. This thing the 4 of them played was indeed quite interesting. Zhang Zizai wanted to play, but the 4 of them refused. The reason was, you are the one who wants to accompany the priest, so don't join in the fun with us. It was late at night, and Zhu Xian did not let him go over and practice with him. They were playing mahjong, and Zhang Zizai couldn't stay quiet in this room, so he went out for a walk and looked at the sea. Unexpectedly, the starry sky was so bright this night. Looking up to the sky, the stars and rivers intertwined against the Black Sea, as if the world and the sea were filled with stars. No one pays attention to such a beautiful scenery. They are all trying their best for Tai Chi. Zhang Zizai didn't expect that he was one of the few people who came out to see the beautiful scenery. On the bow of the ship, riding the wind and waves, the scenery was magnificent, so many people were there. Zhang Zizai saw that there were many people there, so he turned to the stern of the ship. From here, he could see the distant sky and the fire of Donghai city of the Yanlong dynasty. The deck at the stern of the ship was empty and dark, with a few lights swaying in the dark night as the sacrifice swayed. Brother Zi. Zhang Zizai was just glad that she was the only one enjoying the scenery while leaning on the side of the ship. Unexpectedly, her voice suddenly came from behind her. She was surprised and excited. When Zhang Zizai turned around, he saw her. Today she changed into a light yellow short skirt, which looked quite thin. A pair of slender and energetic legs were exposed. They were round and strong, white and delicate. The short skirt was also shoulder length, and the width of the shoulders was very touching. The clavicle under the jade neck is still bright and moving, and the pendant hanging on the ear is swaying gently under the starry sky, like the throbbing of the girl's mood. Tonight's clothes seemed a little revealing, but they perfectly showed off her already well-developed figure despite her young age, especially the vitality and youthfulness of a young girl, who people once praised as her childhood sweetheart. Those girls, this is how they feel. Especially under the stars, the snow-white skin and charming smile make people fascinated. I wanted to see you, but I didn't dare to look for you, for fear of disturbing your practice, so I waited here, thinking that you might come out, but I didn't expect that you actually came. She came to Zhang Zizai's side. A pair of white arms were placed on the side of the ship together with Zhang Zizai. The sea breeze blew gently, and her hair was flying gently in the darkness. She turned her head and looked at Zhang Zizai with a smile, and then tucked the messy hair behind her ears. The scenery is so beautiful. I heard that the night in the sea is dark and the wind is howling, but this is not the case at all. Look, the surroundings are so peaceful, and the sky is full of shining stars. She raised her chin slightly and looked at the stars in the sky, with a look of yearning in her eyes. Yanlong ruins, I have never seen such a magnificent world and such a bright night sky. Zhang Zizai looked at the girl, a little lost in thought. When she looked at him, Zhang Zizai said, the night sky in Dajiangqing city is not bad either. Yes, I heard that the southern country has the most beautiful scenery and is full of flowers. In Princess Ruohua's garden, flowers are blooming. It's a pity that I haven't seen them for a long time. Princess Shenxia recalled that there was a sea of flowers all over the sky. She was a little excited, hung her body on the side of the ship, hooked up her legs, and left the deck. The night breeze is so cool, and it smells like the sea, salty. She squinted her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly in the night sky. Brother Zizi, why don't you say anything? There is no one else here, no one can see it. You don't have to think about so many worldly troubles and real obstacles and just enjoy our friendship, isn't it good? She looked at Zhang Zizai expectantly, her eyes moving. Indeed, it seems that there are only two of them in this world. Friendship, possible. Zhang Zizai looked in the direction of the land and said, it's very difficult. If what I don't want to happen happens, it will be even more impossible. Oh. She was a little disappointed and said, I can't help it, I can't control this matter, I'm so useless. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. It has nothing to do with you. Then can you promise me that we can have a good talk together and leave those things alone? I will have endless time to endure those troubles after returning to Yanlong ruins. The longing look in the girl's eyes made it hard to bear to refuse. Good. Zhang Zizai nodded. By the way, are you sure you can compete for that Tai Chi this time? She immediately got into the mood and started chatting freely. Well, I'm not sure about this. It mainly depends on the performance on the spot. This evolution source is too rare. I am now a heaven level totem. If I can get it, I can evolve to a wild level totem. Unfortunately, it is for the temple. I really wanted, Princess Shenxiao said straightforwardly. Zhang Ziyi was startled, thinking that she might have come here for the source of evolution. Just when she thought this, Princess Shenxiao smiled and said, Brother Ziyi is thinking that Xiao Zhao's real purpose is to take advantage of your feelings. When you get Tai Chi, give it to me, right? Zhang Ziyi curled his lips and said, you're overthinking it. Don't tell me it's you, I won't even give it to your mother. Are you so shameless? In my memory, you were always a gangster. You were too decent before, and I'm not used to it. She laughed softly, and the sound was like silver bells, floating in the night sky. Zhang Zizai also felt that she was overthinking, and it was impossible for her to come here for Tai Chi. Although Tai Chi is precious, it will never come to her. Xiao Zhao has no purpose. He just wants to have some time to stand next to his brother Ziyi and talk about the happy things in the past. I feel that later life is always very depressing, and it is still like this now. Father, Mister, it means that I must be better than my brothers, but I am so tired. She was lying on the side of the boat, her eyes misty. I know, these are just boring worries. Compared with your family's current situation, I'm a little disease-free asterisk, but sometimes I just miss my childhood and want to find someone to talk to, but none of my brothers like me. People can talk. Don't you have a younger sister, Princess Lingxian? Zhang Zizai said. Her? She just knows how to eat. She doesn't understand what she is saying. Sometimes I envy her. She is carefree and has no pressure. She thinks about eating delicious food every day. There are so many things in the palace. The chefs cook for her. Zhang Zizai was startled. It turned out that Princess Lingxian was still such a person. The topic soon left Princess Lingxian, and Zhang Zizai recalled some childhood events with her. Her memory was so good that Zhang Zizai had forgotten more than 95% of the things she said. Unexpectedly, she remembered everything clearly. Late at night. She was very happy. She hung on the side of the ship and looked at the rolling water below and the unfathomable ocean. I can't swim. Will I drown if I fall? She suddenly asked playfully. Zhang Zizai smiled and said, you'll know if you try it. Will you save me? I must have given up on saving him, Zhang Zizai said. Unexpectedly, she pursed her lips and smiled, then suddenly jumped on her toes and jumped down. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 94. With a pop sound, the girl fell into the sea and splashed with water. It was like being swallowed up instantly by a big mouth. Zhang Zizai was joking, but he didn't expect that she would actually jump in. Xiao Zhao. He was stunned. The sea was so deep. She just jumped in and became silent in an instant. As soon as the god sacrifice sailed away, she would definitely die here. Zhang Zizai couldn't hesitate. He couldn't just die without saving his life, and he was such a special person to him. Without any time to think, he jumped in and plunged into the sea water. Fortunately, his reaction was quick enough, and he was now at a high spiritual level, and his eyesight was very good even in deep water. Swimming is very simple. Before he became a totem martial artist, he often caught fish in the water. Now that he became a totem martial artist, his true energy exploded and his speed in the water was amazing. The deep sea was pitch black, but fortunately her skirt was brightly colored. Zhang Zizi saw her immediately and swam over quickly. She remained motionless and sank deeper. At this time, he couldn't care about anything else. He went up directly, put his hand around her slim waist, and swam up. In fact, it didn't take much effort to lift her out of the water. The waves were rolling, and the two of them were floating on the sea. Zhang Zizi hurriedly checked to see if anything had happened to her. Unexpectedly, she stretched out her hands, hugged Zhang Zizi's waist tightly, pressed her body tightly against his, and pressed her head against his chest. In the sea water, her long hair was already wet. "Are you crazy? Look up," Zhang Zizi gritted his teeth. "Don't be so fierce." The girl raised her head slightly, but her wet face was a little rosy and her eyes were a little blurry. "What are you doing?" Zhang Zizi really couldn't understand why she did this suddenly. "I just want to see if you still care about me." Xiao Zhao is very happy now. I counted the numbers and Brother Zize reacted in 1/10 of a breath and came down to save me. The book said, this is the only time a close relative can have such a short time. After she finished speaking, she secretly smiled, hugging Zhang Zize and leaning on him like an octopus. The girl's soft body, so close, her fragrance is different from that of the 9 immortals, but at this moment, her shy eyes have the same level of attraction. "It's boring." Zhang Zize looked up and saw that the god's sacrifice was almost far away and he had to catch up quickly. "It's not boring. I just want to know if you are the same as before. That time I almost drowned and you saved me. Have you forgotten, Moat?" She suddenly became excited and hugged Zhang Zize tightly, her body temperature blending with his. "Moat," Zhang Zize thought for a moment, and then remembered something. Indeed, once, she almost drowned, and he was the one who got her up. "You're stupid, I tricked you into this." "I don't care, you saved me." She pressed her face against Zhang Zize's chest and said, "I don't know, I was about to die at that time. How scared I was, a child, facing death. Fear, at that time, you were like an unparalleled hero, pulling me out of the brink of death. You don't know how brave you were to me at that time. I will remember it for the rest of my life." Zhang Zize didn't know what to say. She hugged him so hard. Her arms didn't look thick, but they were very strong. He couldn't break free at all, and he wouldn't break free. The light yellow short skirt was completely wet. Under the starlight, the thin clothing clung to her skin. It was as if she had no clothes on. She was so close that she could see everything clearly just by looking down. It was clear that, even after struggling, her shoulder-length skirt had been pulled down quite a bit. "Don't look at it, it's annoying." After realizing it, she quickly pulled up her clothes, her face already as red as an apple. "Such a beauty is in my arms, her whole body is transparent, how could she not look at it? You came out to see the night, and you brought weapons with you." She felt a little uncomfortable, and was about to move away when she realized what it was. Her heartbeat suddenly accelerated and her breathing became difficult. For a long time, it was the sound of heartbeat. "Brother Zize, I don't know why, it's been so many years. Things that happened before I was 6 years old are nothing at all. Why do I have to remember them? I'm so happy to see you again. I feel that you are the same as before. Exactly the same, as if I was waiting for you, but the reality is so cruel." She cried, shedding tears on Zhang Zize's shoulder. Where are you looking? Zhang Zizai pointed. Ah, the god sacrifice is so far away, she just realized it. If we don't chase him, we will feed the fish here. In the vast sea, there will always be times when you freeze to death. I can't swim, you have to hold me. It seemed that she had undergone some kind of change, and she could become more delicate and sassy. Zhang Zizai has no choice. If he doesn't pursue her now and is still worrying about these trivial matters, then he really won't be able to catch up. Little dolphin, I want to lie on your back, she smiled cleverly, then wrapped herself around Zhang Zizai's back, hanging her hands around his neck. Little dolphin, swim quickly and take Xiao Zhao to escape and ascend to heaven. The girl's clear laughter kept echoing in Zhang Zizai's ears. At that moment, it seemed like I was really back to the time when two children were catching small fish and shrimps in the river 10 years ago. Xiao Zhao. What's wrong? Brother Zizai. Zhang Zizai didn't say what was wrong, she couldn't say it, because she was no longer a child, her skirt was so thin, and it stuck to her back like this, soft. Zhang Zizai's mind was filled with the 9 Immortals' crooked ideas. It's okay, just get on with it. After a sweet struggle, Zhang Zizai finally carried her onto the boat. She was like a waste the whole time, making no effort at all. When getting on the boat, Zhang Zizai was still a little guilty and quickly checked to see if there was anyone on board. Finally got on this bed, he breathed a sigh of relief. What? Princess Shenxiao bit her red lips, her face flushed. Ship, ship. My mood was a bit overwhelming, and I didn't even pay attention to my words. Shipboard, starry sky, ocean. The two stood opposite each other. She was worthy of being the flame dragon totem. In the blink of an eye, her clothes were dry and her hair was neatly styled. She was combing her long hair at this time. Her hair was quite long, and under the starlight, it looked like a pouring waterfall. I was sorry just now. I wanted to fish you out and didn't pay attention to the contact. Stop talking, don't tell anyone. She turned her face sideways, her pretty face still flushed. Want to go back? He asked. I don't want to think about it yet. How about staying a little longer? Zhang Zizai has seen a lot, even if her clothes are neatly dressed now, she can still imagine it, so her eyes are even more different. Although the 9 Immortals are ambiguous, he has never seen the real one. In one day, Princess Shenxiao had reached this point with him. Under the night wind. The two leaned against the side of the boat again, not daring to look at each other now. They both looked ahead in tacit agreement. Don't tell others what happened just now. I said I was frivolous towards the princess, but no one believed me. Zhang Zizai smiled lightly. Begging for a beating, she gave Zhang Zizai a coquettish look. Then, it was quiet for a while. I really want to go on like this without going back to Yanlong ruins. Thinking of the future, she felt a little uneasy. Zhang Zizai didn't respond. Brother Zizai, you started your cultivation too late. It's still difficult to perform well in the 6 Palaces festival, right? Zhang Zizai nodded. She thought for a while, then her eyes suddenly lit up and she said, I have a treasure that I want to give to you. She took off a snow-white dragon-shaped jade pendant from her neck and handed it to Zhang Zizai's hand. This is the Zhao jade given to me by my grandmother. It is the core of a huge spiritual mine. The material is very special. There are actually many totem patterns carved in it. Carrying it with you all year round can gather the vitality of heaven and earth faster, as well as tranquility. God, the pain relief effect is very helpful for cultivation. I can't take such a precious thing. Zhang Zizai knew that this type of treasure was more important than the Yunling Divine Stone, and it was given to her by her grandmother. As far as Zhang Zizai knew, her grandmother had passed away. Who said I wanted to give it to you? I just want to lend it to you. You can fight for it in Kiri's Hima. It can also help you. You can just return it to me after the Six Houses Festival, Princess Shenxiao said with a smile. Borrow. Well, you must hide it well and don't let others see it. I'll bring it for you. She stretched out her hand and asked Zhang Zizai to lower his head, then carefully hung the Zhao jade around Zhang Zizai's neck, and then hid it in her clothes. In this way, you can always think of Xiao Zhao. She blinked, looking like her conspiracy had succeeded. Zhang Zizai took out the Zayu and looked at it carefully. The carved dragon was quite exquisite. He liked dragons very much now. He liked this Zayu very much. Subconsciously, I held it in front of me and smelled it, and couldn't help but say, it smells so good. This is what Princess Shenxiao wears on her chest all year round. How can it not smell good? How bad are you? Princess Shenxiao was startled for a moment, then her face suddenly turned red again. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it. No, I shouldn't smell it. Haha, it's okay. Zhang Zizai put away Zhao Yu. I'm leaving first. The atmosphere was so ambiguous that her face turned red and she had no choice but to run away. Zhang Zizai looked at her delicate body disappearing into the darkness with a somewhat complicated look. He remembered Zhang Yanning's confession that she didn't like having any interaction with Long Zhao. But no matter what, 3 days are up. In the early morning of the third day, he heard people cheering, came to the bow of the ship, and vaguely saw an island appearing in the fog ahead. It's foggy all year round, that's Kiri's Hima. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 95. Perhaps it was because of the strong collision between his heart and body that night, and Princess Shenxiao did not come to see him for the next 1 or 2 days. Perhaps, she was also worried about affecting his cultivation process. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. The sacrifice ship has docked. The god servant and Shen Yuanqing went up first, and then the priest led the priests to board the fog island one after another. The fog is too heavy. Some priests were already panicking. This island looks very gloomy and foggy, and the pressure it brings to people is no less than that of the Black Soul Abyss. The Black Soul Abyss is full of dead trees, but it is different here. The forest is dense, damp, and cold, and there are beasts and poisonous insects everywhere. All life here follows the law of the jungle. Maybe if you are not careful, you will fall into the trap of the hunter. There are many shrubs, vines, poisonous branches, and leaves, and even plants that can kill life. If you are not careful, you may be entangled and die, becoming nutrients for plants. The worshippers looked at the fog island that was like the abyss of hell, and began to show nervousness. If you are afraid, that's good. In the end, there will be people who are not afraid to stand out. This was the first sentence that Xinjiao Shenji said on the fog island. Nearly 500 worshippers were divided into 99 teams. The sacrificial flags were basically pinned on their waists, which was very obvious. Zhang Zizai's eyes passed through the crowd and saw Princess Shenxiao standing on the edge. She might also be looking for him, so when her eyes met, she lowered her head shyly. Maybe she felt that she was too bold and took the initiative that night. Beside her, the hot woman in a black dress stood, protecting her. There was no need to worry about her safety. You're blushing, it seems you've already succeeded for the most part. Juxian came to his side at some point and said something that frightened Zhang Zizai. Don't talk nonsense. Don't be shy. She looked at him with a cute and playful look, which easily made Zhang Zizai forget Xiao Zhao, and her mind was full of her. In fact, the atmosphere was already very tense, because the Battle of Kiri's Hima was about to begin. The danger in the center of the fog island is incalculable, so we have circled that part with a red line. All disciples are prohibited from entering. If someone enters privately and something happens, we will not be responsible. Yes. Priest, Yuanqing, get ready according to the original grouping. Yes. 99 teams are ready to board the fog island. From now on, no fighting is allowed within half an hour. Those who violate the rules will be eliminated directly. Everyone can find a good position first. After half an hour, start the jungle hunting. The half-hour truce is mainly to avoid everyone entering from the same entrance. The initial positions will be very dense. Half an hour is enough for any team to blend into the jungle, and then start hunting each other. Go. At the command of the star god servant, the priests began to rush into the fog island as a team. Whoever occupies a favorable position first may gain something. But Zhang Zizai is not in a hurry. He knows that this is a long competition lasting a month. Even if there is no sacrificial flag in hand on the second to last day, it doesn't matter. Because it only takes one last day to find the one with the most sacrificial flags and defeat it to become the champion. Xuanhuan had already said what he should say. Men, be tougher. Yes, priest. I'm not a man, Ruo Xiaoyu said. Xiaoyu, you have to work hard too, and make the enemy cute. Okay. They were in a relaxed atmosphere. At this time, many teams had disappeared from sight. Follow me. Zhang Zizai said, and he and Xuanhuan looked at each other. In her eyes, Zhang Zizai saw her confidence in herself. Just like in the Black Collar Mountains, hunt. Okay. The Black Collar Mountains are simply a test of life and death. Zhang Zizai knew that many people were paying attention to him, but he only paid attention to his own way. He took Lu Dingxing and the others, without looking back, and quickly entered the foggy island full of ancient trees. Behind them, the priests and Yuanqing also came in. They were powerful beyond imagination, and the entire fog island was under their control. It is said that the priests are at least at the level of Saint Body, and Yuanqing's standard is at least the 7th or 8th level of Saint Body, or even beyond Saint Body. After the Xuanmei realm, cultivating the Totem Saint Body, possessing the Totem Saint Body, there are many incredible abilities, which Zhang Zizai cannot understand now. His brother Zhang Junjian, who is just 20 years old, seems to have reached the Saint Body realm last year, and maybe even higher now. Some priests in their 30s here may not be Zhang Junjian's opponents. There are priests watching us next to us. Princess Shenxiao is led by the woman in black and follows us all the way. Shen Yuanqing is next to them. Less than half a quarter of an hour later, the surroundings were surrounded by dense trees and thick fog. Wanqian stopped and looked around. The three of them have been following us. Yes, in addition to them, priests and Yuanqing occasionally pass by. Zhang Zizai still admires Wanqian a little. At least he can't see or hear anything, as if the forest is empty. Brother, why did Princess Shenxiao do that? Ruo Xiaoyu was a little confused. Your brother is so charming, Princess Shenxiao must be interested in him. However, why can't I see where he is handsome? He is not as good as me, Bai Shenjin said enviously. Nonsense, my brother is 100 times more handsome than you. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Zhang Zizai was a little troubled by Princess Shenxiao. He said, if she wants to follow, let her follow. Don't worry about it. Let's find a place to stay for a few days. Don't rush to fight and conserve our energy. Didn't the priests say that we should find more weak teams and collect sacrificial flags in the early stage? Wanqian asked. Zhang Zizai said, don't listen to her. It's a waste of time. Wait until others have collected them before we take them. Only then will the efficiency be high. Okay. The four of them obeyed his arrangements. It was not difficult to find a hidden place in half an hour. The terrain of this fog island is rugged, with high mountains, canyons, and abysses, and some are hidden very deep. There really is a source beast. Wanqian was wandering on the tree, and his eyes, like stars, played a huge role. His terrifying arc-shaped vision was all-pervasive, and he could see clearly where there were ants. Go around. When they heard that it was a second-grade source beast, they certainly didn't need to fight it head-on. For others, it would not be as easy as them. They might find it only when they got close, and then they would definitely be chased by the source beast. It would take a lot of effort to defeat the source beast, and the key point was that they might be targeted by other teams because of the sound. Half an hour passed, and Zhang Zizai successfully found a satisfactory place, which was a deep canyon. In the canyon, there was a natural cave where the grass made up, and the inside of the cave was a stone wall, so it was relatively clean. Even if there was a fire inside, it would not be visible from the outside. Practice here first and rest. We will go out in a few days. Don't waste energy on fighting in the early stage. In fact, Zhang Zizai is different, because other stronger teams are ready to race against time and hunt weak teams. Maybe they dare to hide when they have enough sacrificial flags. Wanqian, pay attention to the movement outside and report at any time. Okay, this environment is actually very suitable for me to hone my pupil skills. This is a complex environment. He will observe the water droplets on the leaves and the small ants in the mud pit. In this fog, other priests can only see things within 10 feet, but he can see hundreds of feet away, and his vision can be bent. He is definitely a godlike existence. Princess Shenxiao and Shen Yuanqing are all far away. They didn't leave. Juxian priest came just now, asked about the situation and left. Okay. Zhang Zizai has control over the overall situation and knows what he is doing. He picked up the fire source gun and practiced the fire meteor gun Dao in this cave. How well have you played it? Lu Dingxing asked. More than 100%. He is now better than anyone else at using the spear technique. Xuanmei Realm. After reaching the 9th level of Wuming Realm, he certainly wanted to sprint to the Xuanmei Realm. However, Xuanmei Realm is not easy. He now needs to stabilize the Tianfuake appointment as soon as possible, reaching the scale of the other 8 spiritual orifices, so that the 9-point fixed totem in the body can be officially stabilized. Then, sprint to the Xuanmei Realm. As for the method of opening Xuanmei, he doesn't have it yet, but he believes that it must exist in the Yuanqi Shenglong Sutra. Outside, a fierce fight has begun. On the 4th day, Wanqian came to report nervously, "Someone is here, it's Wan Xiaotham." 5th update is completed. The red envelope of the WeChat account has been sent. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 96. Zhang Zizai put away the fire source gun, wiped off his sweat, and asked with burning eyes, "How many sacrificial flags do they have on them?" Wan Qian thought for a while and replied, "Wan Shai has 6 flags, Wu Jin has 2 flags, Yu Han has 2 flags, Zhao Yi and Jin Ding have 1 flag each, for a total of 12 sacrificial flags." Bai Shenjing glared and said, "Damn, they are so cruel. In just 4 days, they have defeated more than 10 teams. Not necessarily. It's possible to defeat 1 team, but there will be 2 or 3. Wan Qian frowned. He looked at Zhang Zizai and said, "They seem to be planning to take a rest nearby. Sooner or later they will find this place, we need to retreat quickly." Bai Shenjin thought for a moment and said, "They have 3 levels of Xian Vein. Zhao Yi is at the 9th level of Wuming Realm, Jin Ding is at the 8th level of Wuming Realm, and Wan Sha is still at the 2nd level of Xian Vein Realm, and they are from the Black World clan, and they cooperate tacitly. Their totems are also particularly suitable for fighting here. When we encounter them at this time, we can only avoid them. After all, we, plus Boss Zhang, are equivalent to only 2 people in the mysterious Vein Realm. Ruo Xiaoyu and Wan Qian have almost no lethality. A little comparison will tell that there is basically no chance of winning. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zizai said, 12 sacrificial flags, this vote can do it. If you miss this opportunity, who knows when you will meet these big fat sheep. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Boss, are you kidding me? Are they big fat sheep? Then we are just a bunch of green grass. Bai Shenjin's eyes widened. That's right, I'm going to eat sheep. Wan Sha provoked Zhang Zizai several times, but Zhang Zizai backed away because there was no benefit in fighting him. Now, 12 sacrificial flags were brought to him, which was enough for Zhang Zizai. Boss, are you serious? Bai Shenjin couldn't believe it. Lu Dingxing said, don't be afraid of mother-in-law and mother-in-law. You are just like a girl. Xiao Yu is not afraid. You are a coward. Yeah, I'm not afraid, haha. There are giant pandas protecting me. It's up to the boss, no problem. Lu Dingxing patted him on the shoulder and walked out. Wan Qian Zhang Zizai called him when he saw him lowering his head. Boss. Wan Qian raised his head, his eyes trembling. Do you want the elders of your black family to know that your team defeated Wancha's team? I want to, even in my dreams. Wan Qian gritted his teeth. People should live with dignity, right? Right. Then, hum them. Good. The boy was furious. 15 years of humiliation were all accumulated in my heart, and all the anger burst out at this moment. Haha, no woman of any rank dares to bear my father's flesh and blood. Your mother is a despicable thing. Wan Qian, you can only be a waste for the rest of your life. You said you have the same blood as me. No, no, you only have the blood of despicability. Eye magic, haha. No matter how powerful your eyes are, what's the use of spying on women taking a bath? You are of dirty blood, and you are only qualified to do such dirty things. Those sharp words often woke him up from nightmares. Kill 10,000. Kill 10,000. He had roared in his dream. One day, I will make you swallow back all the words you have ever said. Now, Zhang Zizai's eyes ignited all of this. When his anger was burning, the young man had already walked out with a spear, his back was so hard. Brother, I will fight for you this time too, come on. Bai Shenjin was the one he confided to. For 2 years, they, as geniuses with neither very good backgrounds, lived together in the temple of sacrifice. He knows all the humiliation in Wan Qian's heart. Therefore, even if he felt that there was no hope, his blood was gushing out at this moment. The worst thing he could do was not want the sacrificial flag in his hand. In this world, if you don't fight, how can you have dignity? This is just fighting for dignity. There were 5 of them, except for the cave. They are more than 50 feet to the east. Over there, they are hunting a wild beast and grilling meat. Wanqian has locked them. Zhang Zizai recalled the information about this Black World team. Wan Sha, whose realm is at the 2nd level of the mysterious vein realm, possesses the earth-level totem blade scorpion totem. Wu Jin, the 1st level of the mysterious vein realm, is 16 years old and possesses the earth-level totem 10,000-footed centipede totem. Yuhan is at the 1st level of the mysterious meridian realm. She is 14 years old. She is the only woman in their team. She has green totem lines on her body and possesses the earth-level totem cold poison spider totem. These 3 people are the outstanding geniuses of this generation of the Black World clan, and each of them is the first to enter the sacrificial temple by relying on the clan association. The remaining 2 are slightly worse. One is named Zhao Yi, and his totem is the Xian level totem Iron Wing Giant Ant totem, which is the 9th level of the martial life realm. There is also a golden tripod that just came in. It is at the 8th level of the martial life realm. Its totem is the golden armor totem, which is a golden beetle. The 5 of them all have strong fighting power, especially Wan Sha, who is said to have a blade giant scorpion transformation equivalent to a troll. Their fighting power in the jungle is quite terrifying. There is also Yuhan, her attack may contain cold poison. When cold poison enters the body, it can freeze the internal organs and freeze people to death. Such a team ranked at least among the top 4 among the 99 teams. They did not expect that Zhang Zizai and the others would be the first to challenge, and they would be among the top 4. Zhang Zizai even knew that there were many priests and Yuan Qing around. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Because the two teams happened to be so close, there were quite a few priest Yuan Qing around. Princess Shenxiao, Shen Yuan Qing, and Qin Qin have been here these days. The 9 immortals often come here. They happened to be here at this time. They were also accompanied by 2 priests from her clan. One was Enran. One is Nangong Shuiying's priest Feng Qingxian. They were arranged into a group by the gods. Feng Qingxian is a cold woman with a very mature and cool charm. Among the priests, she is considered very young. However, compared with the 9 immortals, she is far behind in age and appearance. So, when she found out that she was in a group with the 9 immortals, she was not very happy. That's your priest over there, right? Enran's priest is almost finding them, why don't you retreat quickly? The one named Wan Qian, isn't he good at eye skills? He should have seen it. Enran came here with the Black World clan. In the past few days, the Black World clan's performance was astonishing. He blushed and said, maybe he is lucky and thinks that my disciples will leave soon, right? Speaking of which, your team and Xueying and the others now have 12 god sacrifice flags, and they are tied for first place. However, if Wan Xia and the others get this god sacrifice flag, they will become the first. Feng Qingxian was a little unhappy. She actually wanted Zhang Zizai and the others to leave quickly. Enran smiled and said, Qingxian, don't worry, there is still a long time. Xueying's fighting power is so amazing, and Ye Wei is helping us, there is still a lot of hope in the future. Their team gave Enran a huge headache. They complimented each other, and the 9 immortals rolled their eyes. 9 immortals, why don't you speak? Enran turned around and asked with a smile. Zhu Xian said, you priests are so powerful, I am not qualified to talk to you and listen to your bragging. As a priest, you should speak more purely, Feng Qingxian said coldly. Saucy. Juxian didn't say the word, but the shape of his mouth could be clearly seen. Haha, Feng Qingxian smiled coldly. I want to take away the mobile red flag from our class. It's a beautiful idea, Juxian muttered in his heart. By this time, Wan Qian had already entered the cave. She was also curious about how Zhang Zizai would respond. She glanced at the other side. 9 gods and Princess Shenxiao were also taking their positions at this time, and seemed to be preparing to watch the battle. This boy, is he so brave? Sure enough, in the next moment, Zhang Zizi came out of the cave with a spear, and the direction he was heading towards was Wan Xia and the others. Hey, it's really touching. I didn't expect Wan Qian to take such good care of his brothers and directly send the sacrificial flag to the gods, Enran said with emotion. Feng Qingxian said, as far as I know, Wan Xia doesn't think of him as his younger brother. He is so smart and knows how to advance and retreat. This child's future won't be too miserable. Zhu Xian was speechless when he saw them singing the double act. 2 and 2. She crossed her arms across her chest, smiled, and waited for Zhang Zizai's performance. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 97. This time, Zhang Zizai could feel that there were many priests and Yuan Qings moving around. After all, teams like the Black World team still have many priests paying attention. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. There has been no real fighting for a long time, and he is already excited. Everything goes according to plan. Okay, Lu Dingxing and the others nodded. Start. Bai Shenjin is in a group by himself. Zhang Zizai was in a group by himself. A group of 3 remained. For the sake of Tai Chi, Zhang Zizai had already clearly defined the division of labor for everyone. Bai Shenjin, as if he had been given a shot of blood, suddenly appeared wings behind him. His wings are different from Zhang Zhengzi's. Zhang Zhengzi's is made of flames, while only one side of his is burning flames, and the other side is the roaring wind, with countless wind knives condensed into wings. Zhang Ziyi was dressed in black, holding the fire source gun covered with dragon scales in his hand, using the wind dragon demonic shadow, and quietly entered the darkness. With this little strength, they are still acting separately. What do they want to do? The priests could see clearly from a high place. Let's make things mysterious. Feng Qingxian laughed softly. I don't know what the 9 immortals are thinking. It is said that that little girl is at the 6th level of the Kawu Fate realm. If she is not careful, she may die. Even the Ascension Talisman cannot save her. And Ran whispered beside her. You mean, it's possible that the 9 immortals want to kill them? Kill them with a borrowed knife? Feng Qingxian shook her head and said, it's really vicious. And Ran smiled and did not answer. I really envy you. Another sacrificial flag has been delivered to your disciples. Feng Qingxian felt a little unhappy. She looked over and felt that the Black World team was very lucky. Most of the teams they met, they all surrendered directly. While they were talking, Zhang Zizai let out a whoosh and stood on a branch, silently. Below, 4 boys and a girl were roasting a whole suckling pig and preparing to feast on it. This wild boar is probably an origin beast, so the meat is delicious, and after eating it, it will also be of great benefit to the body. Suddenly, a yellow divine spring descended from the sky and poured on the suckling pork that was just ripe and exuding a fragrant smell. Zzz. The 2 flavors mixed together, and the faces of the 5 people suddenly turned dark. The meat that reaches the mouth is actually wet. Everyone knows the smell of the divine spring that day, what it was. Who? Looking for death. When the 5 of them were greedy, the delicious food they had worked so hard to bake was ruined. For a moment, everyone suddenly stood up and almost went crazy. Zhang Zizai poked his head out from the branches above. He was tying his belt. At this time, he looked at Wan Sha and the others with an apologetic look and said, what a coincidence. You are down below. I'm so sorry, I didn't expect to wet you, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sure enough, he peed on it. Zhang Zizai, Wan Sha looked at his shameless expression, then looked at the defiled roast suckling pig, and immediately went crazy. Catch him and castrate him. Needless to say, the remaining 4 were furious. How could there be such a shameless person, the young prince of Daejiang City? Zhang Zizai's wonderful move shocked the priests. Feng Qingxian quickly turned her head. Disgusting, Juxian's face turned red, and she quickly reached out to cover her eyes, but the gaps between her fingers were so big that they couldn't block her sight at all. How could there be such a shameless person in the temple of sacrifice? Feng Qingxian was so angry that her chest heaved. While she was scolding, Wan Sha and the others were running after Zhang Zizai like crazy. There was a gap in strength between the 5 members of their team. Wan Sha was of course the fastest to catch up. Wu Jin and Yuhan were behind Wan Sha, and the remaining Zhao Yi and Jin Ding also distanced themselves. Jin Ding chased after him, and there was no one in front of him. Got it? Only the priests at high places could see the overall situation. Under the overwhelming anger of the 5 members of the Black World team, a team was directly dismantled by Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai was originally thinking about how to anger them, but he didn't expect that he would be able to do it with just a splash of urine. The Wan kill speed was indeed very fast, but Zhang Zizai used the Wind Dragon shadow to its extreme, shuttling between the jungles and flying up and down. The fog was so heavy that it was really difficult for him to catch up. But Wan Sha still doesn't believe it. Don't run away if you have the guts. I have the guts, but I just want to run away. I'm just a pig. Why should I be so angry? I am a farmer in Daejeong City who is very good at raising pigs. I will give you a few hundred pigs as a gift. Roll. Wancha's eyes were red. Suddenly, he followed Zhang Zizai and rushed into a sea of fire. In this sea of fire, the wind roared, and the flames quickly jumped up. The damp trees around were burned by the fire, and the dead leaves on the ground also burned. The fog was already heavy, and with the thick smoke, it was even more difficult to find someone in an instant. No more north. Trapped him. Zhang Zizai and Baishanjin passed by each other. No problem, look at me, I'm in the Xuanmei realm. Baishanjin is the most powerful person here besides Zhang Zizai, and he is also Zhang Zizai's important helper. He flew through the air, fully displaying his wind and fire domain. When the two wings began to flap, countless flames were swept by the strong wind and flew all over the sky. An area of about 1 mile in radius turned into a sea of fire. Wan Sha was suddenly engulfed in flames, with fire everywhere. The key was the howling wind, which made him not know which way to go. Baishanjin. Who is calling your grandpa's name over there? A voice pretending to be old came from a distance. Wan Sha gritted his teeth. A son of a mortal insect dared to talk to him like this. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. You are looking for death. What, grandpa is old, his ears are bad, and he can't hear clearly, you shout again. Wan Sha rushed towards the location of his voice without saying a word. Baishanjin can control Wan Sha's position within the scope of his domain through wind and fire. His current task is just to delay Wan Sha, no problem at all. What tricks are they playing? The flames here burned, attracting the attention of many priests, and many priests appeared nearby. Juxian, what are you teaching? And Ran was a little unhappy. Open your dog eyes and see clearly, why are you asking me? Juxian was holding a mirror and putting blush on her face. How do you talk? And Ran felt that she was so disrespectful every time, which was really too much. And Ran, look. Jinding is in danger, he was about to discuss with Juxian when Feng Qingxian reminded him. He went in another direction. Then he saw a black shadow approaching the lagging Jinding quickly. That was Zhang Zizai. How could he lock Jinding's position so easily? And Ran was shocked. Feng Qingxuan's face was stiff, and he said, just now, he returned to Wan Qian's position first, and Wan Qian locked Jinding's position. At this time, Enran already knew Zhang Zizai's method, and he was not here to deliver the sacrificial flag. The sacrificial flag in Jinding's hand must be gone, Feng Qingxian said. She might be a little surprised by Zhang Zizai's arrangement. This feint to the east and attack in the west tactics was seen by many priests. At this moment, Zhang Zizai instantly appeared in front of Jinding, who was desperately chasing over there. Jinding was shocked and was about to shout. Ah! Zhang Zizai passed by this black shadow quickly, and the fire source gun pierced out like a venomous snake, piercing his thigh. A bloody hole was stabbed. Jinding screamed and fell to the ground and rolled. Save me! In the scream, his face was extremely miserable, staring at Zhang Zizai in fear. Thank you for your loving little gift. After a shot, Zhang Zizai took the sacrificial flag and put it on his waist. Zhao Yi, who was not far ahead, heard Jinding scream and hurried back. Before he saw Jinding, a black shadow had already shot towards him. Both of them were at the 9th level of the Wuming realm. Jinji Longyin. The black shadow was too fast. In an instant, a palm was already in front of him. Roar! Zhao Yi was startled and hurriedly blocked his eyes with his arms. Bang! The force of that palm directly shook him out and hit the tree behind him hard, almost falling apart. Zhang! Zhao Yi hadn't shouted a word before the fire source gun pierced his thigh. Bang! He fell to the ground and trembled, unable to walk anymore. Thank you for your loving gift. Zhang Zizai successfully took the second sacrificial flag and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Zhao Yi wanted to cry but had no tears. The Black World team lost 2 members in less than 10 breaths. Zhang Zizai's shot was quite fierce, and he could only crawl on the ground. Even if there were spiritual medicines, it would take a few days before he could recover his combat effectiveness. However, he had already wasted a lot of time. Now, he was quickly returning to Wanqian. Because he had to control the entire battlefield, Wanqian and the others were also very close, and they might be approached by the other side at any time. Fortunately, Wanqian could detect the danger in advance and evacuate early. However, when they came back this time, Wanqian and the others were no longer in their original position. It means that they were discovered. They left a mark, and there was no signal from Bai Shenjin, which meant that he was still entangled with Wanxia. It might be that Yuhan or Wu Jin forced them away. Zhang Zizai quickly chased after the mark left by Wanqian. What he didn't know was that a battle had already started in another place nearby. A tall young man, covered in black armor, with a centipede totem on his forehead. He is Wu Jin, the first level of Xuanmei realm. At this time, he has chased Wan Qian and the others to the vicinity of the cave. Wan Qian, you dare to confront us, you are looking for death, Wu Jin grinned. He also has the ability to chase in the jungle. Lu Dingxing, Ruo Xiaoyu and Wan Qian, if he finds them, it will be troublesome. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 98. Panda, what should I do? Wan Qian asked. Lu Dingxing knew that the other party was 2 levels above him. This is an emergency situation. Unexpectedly, Wu Jin suddenly came around here. The boss dares to challenge those 2 realms higher than himself. I am also a heaven-level totem. Why can't I dare? The guy on the other side who had the 10,000-foot centipede totem used the totem manifestation, and now he was covered in armor, especially his hands, which had a lot of barbs growing on them, which was shocking. Zhang Zizai never expected that I would catch you 3 losers. Wu Jin's face was cold. Zhang Zizai dared to provoke us like this, he is really looking for death. At this time, he heard 2 screams in succession. It's Zhao Yi and Jin Ding. He was shocked when he heard it. Did Bai Shenjin attack them? They should be able to hold on. Thinking of this, he knew that he had to quickly capture these 3 old, weak, sick, and disabled. Wu Jin said no more, and with a whoosh, his whole body rushed towards Lu Dingxing and the others like an iron wall. Superior! Lu Dingxing roared angrily. He had an advantage in both totem and infuriating energy, but his level was slightly inferior. He knew that Zhang Zizai defeated Zhang Zhengzi when he was at the 8th level of the martial life realm. He also has such a desire. Troll Panda, change. His Troll Panda transformation was obviously more terrifying than the opponent's totem manifestation. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a huge giant panda beast. That head was 2 heads taller than Endless, and his body was thicker. 2 laps. His heavenly totem is no joke. What totem? Wu Jin was startled when he saw the devil-like panda totem. Bear punch. Lu Dingxing was like a madman, he rushed in front of him in the blink of an eye and punched out. Bump. The 2 of them bumped into each other and both stepped back. Didn't you kill him? Is he so thick-skinned? Wu Jin was very surprised. An ordinary 8th level martial artist couldn't withstand his punch. What he didn't expect was that the 13-year-old girl and Wan Qian would also come up at this time. They obviously regarded him as prey. Wan Qian, you are so courageous. You are the son of a bitch. This prostitute is so lucky that she got pregnant and gave birth secretly. Wu Jin stuck out his scarlet tongue. Wu Jin, Wan Qian actually walked towards him. He clenched his fists and his eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. I once swore that I would pay you back all your insults one day. Today, I want you to remember it forever. I am thousands, but I also have dignity. No one can take away my dignity, no one can insult my mother. No one. Haha, Wu Jin couldn't help but laugh, and with the force of his feet, he charged towards Wan Qian. Unexpectedly, another giant beast came out halfway and stood in front of him, almost sending him flying with a slap. Go to hell, beast, Wu Jin could only hit Lu Dingxing first. At this moment, a large number of vines suddenly appeared on the ground. Pink flowers quickly grew on the vines, and there were dense thorns on the vines. This is not a real vine, it is condensed with true energy. Wu Jin was just startled, as his whole body was completely entangled by dozens of vines. Most of his skin was thick enough that the flower thorns could not penetrate, but there was no armor on his face and neck. Ah! The flower thorn enters the body. At this moment, Wu Jin felt like he was being shocked by an electric shock. His whole body was numb. The feeling was worse than death. He foamed at the mouth. When he opened his eyes, he saw that it was the little girl. The energy in her body condensed into vines, which pierced the ground and then stretched out from under her feet. You bitch, he struggled wildly. With his true energy, it was not difficult to tear the vine apart. Ugly, Ruo Xiaoyu was very disgusted, but she also frowned because she knew that she was about to be broken away. Wu Jin, at this moment, Wan Qian shouted loudly. Wu Jin looked into his eyes. Buzz. When the two looked at each other, Wu Jin's eyes instantly turned white. He covered his eyes in great pain and screamed in a low voice. Panda. Needless to say, the panda had already gone up, and when the opponent screamed, the huge panda's palm slapped him several times in succession. After it was over, Wu Jin's face was as swollen as a pig's head, and he knelt softly on the ground, already dizzy. We defeated him, Lu Dingxing was a little unresponsive. He looked at Wan Qian. Wan Qian's steps were a bit frivolous. He shook his head and said, it seems so. It's my first time to hit someone with the Tianyi impact technique. If Xiaoyu's flower thorn was the first step, Wan Qian's pupil technique was actually the key to Wu Jin's instant defeat. Lu Dingxing instantly added a few slaps and was done, but Wu Jin's ability was completely unused. I came out and am now dizzy. Wonderful. Zhang Zizai arrived a little late, and Wu Jin fell down the moment he arrived. He put away the sacrificial flag. Wan Qian, your first step is a good one. He gave a thumbs up to Wan Qian. Wan Qian smiled slightly, the excitement at that moment was something he would never forget in his life. It was Zhang Zizai who changed him. That silly bird is probably in trouble. I'll go up first and you can come back later. Zhang Zizai took the fire source gun and moved forward immediately. Boss, the remaining two are in his wind and fire domain. Understood. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. 2 more sacrificial flags were obtained, and now Zhang Zizai already had 5 sacrificial flags in his hands. But this was not his goal was to have 13 flags after this battle. So far, Wu Jin, Zhao Yi, and Jin Ding were defeated by them respectively, and Bai Shenjin also entangled Wan Sha and Yuhan with the wind and fire domain. The first half of the duel was over. Zhang Zizai was quickly killing towards the final battlefield. And the priests, Yuan Qings, and even Princess Shenxiao led by Qin Zhen, all had a panoramic view of the series of battles. The one with the most exciting expression now was Enran. He had to admit that Zhang Zizai did not violate the rules. In this battle, combat effectiveness was one thing, and in the competition of IQ, Wan Sha and the others had been defeated. Even Feng Qingxian was silent. So, when choosing a disciple, you still have to look at this. Juxian pointed to his head and said with a smile, the bad disciples here can only get together with the priests who are not here. Juxian, Enran was ridiculed by her, and she was even more angry. Now, don't be happy too early. In the practice of cultivation, strength is the real ability. Playing these little tricks will eventually be exposed. Only strength is everything, and Ran said. You are wrong. When the strength is similar, the combat awareness of the totem warrior can dominate the victory. If you don't accept it, just look down. Xuanhuan waved his hand, looking like you can do nothing to me. Haha, and Ran sneered. Master and Ran, don't let her get angry. Some people are not strong enough and do like crooked ways. Isn't it normal? Although she was not happy, Feng Qingxian thought that if the Black World team was weakened, her disciples Nangong Shuiying and others would have fewer opponents, which was a great thing. Anyway, she can watch the snipe and the clam fight and be the fisherman who benefits. Slut, Xuanhuan glanced at her, picked up the mirror and started to touch up her makeup. This damn place is too humid, I have to absorb the oil, she muttered while looking at it, as if she was sure of everything. In fact, she was so happy in her heart. This kid has given me so much face, I have to reward him well when I go back. Thinking of that time, Zhang Zizai looked at her with hot eyes. Do you want to let him touch it? He is so eager, what will it feel like? Ah, what is he thinking? He is just a child. Thinking of him peeing in the sky just now. It seems, not a child. She looked in the mirror and was depressed. Why is it so red, damn it? In fact, it seems to be a natural blush, not a blush made. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 99. Boss, come on, the situation is getting out of control. As soon as Zhang Zizai rushed into the sea of raging wind and flames, he heard Bai Shenjin calling out. Behind them, Wan Qian and the others were not far behind, and the five of them quickly met inside. As soon as Zhang Zizai came in, Bai Shenjin could roughly sense his position through the speed of the wind. Soon, Zhang Zizai saw him. He was flapping his wings and running towards Zhang Zizai in a panic, shouting, Boss, the mad dog is biting, run away. No need to run. Zhang Zizai stuck the fire source gun on the ground. The acceleration talisman on his feet has expired, so he put on 2 more ones. This accelerating talisman was the guarantee for his attacks just now. Whoops! The surrounding trees continued to burn with fire, thick smoke was rising, and sharp knives were flying in all directions, capable of cutting off the trees. This is Bai Shenjin's ability. Hey, you guys are here too. Bai Shenjin just hid behind Zhang Zizai when he saw Wan Qian, Lu Dingxing, and Ruo Xiaoyu also coming. Then, he saw the sacrificial flag on Zhang Zizai. Have you done the other 3? Bai Shenjin's eyes widened in disbelief. He knew that he was responsible for holding back Wan Sha, and he had a heavy responsibility. Yuhan also followed in the middle, making it even more troublesome. Seeing that he couldn't control it, just when he was about to collapse, he didn't expect that they had already solved 3 opponents. Now, 5 against 2. Awesome, he could only give a thumbs up. You're doing well too. If he hadn't entangled the 2 masters, Zhang Zizai and the others wouldn't have been able to do so smoothly. Just as he praised Bai Shenjin, 2 figures suddenly appeared in front of him. They were Wan Sha and Yuhan, who had been chasing Bai Shenjin for a long time. They were a man and a woman. They had totem patterns on their bodies, which looked quite strange. You guys finally showed up. Wan Sha's eyes were cold as he jumped from the burning tree to the ground and pressed towards Zhang Zizai and the others. Suddenly, he saw the sacrificial flag on Zhang Zizai's body. Where are they? Wan Sha gritted his teeth. The sound of flames and wind was too loud here, and they didn't hear the screams outside. Like little ants, they are crawling over here. Zhang Zizai smiled. At this time, even he could feel that there were a lot of eyes focused on this place. It was obviously the priests. Moreover, the noise of their fighting was so loud that other priests had obviously come over temporarily to join in the fun. Now, it can be said that he has received a lot of attention from the Temple of Sacrifice. This is also Zhang Zizai's purpose, so he must perform well next. Only then did Wan Sha realize that he had fallen into a trap. Bai Shenjing kept teasing and was so angry that he only chased him in the wind and fire realm. In such a short period of time, Zhang Zizai actually went out and defeated the three of them. Despicable. The murderous energy and blood attacked the heart. He had gone crazy after being so irritated by Zhang Zizai many times. Yuhan, come on. Fight to death. If something happens, it's mine, Wan Sha said in a cold tone. The girl named Yuhan possesses the cold poison spider totem and is already very cold. The green totem lines on her body are covered with a layer of frost. Wan Qian, follow me, Zhang Zizai greeted. As for Lu Dingxing and Ruo Xiaoyu, Zhang Zizai didn't need to tell them. They all knew that they would assist Bai Shenjin and defeat Yuhan. The 5 people were divided into 2 groups, one on the left and one on the right. You don't have the guts to fight me alone, Wan Sha looked at Zhang Zizai with a sarcastic smile. No, I just want you to see if he is a waste. His finger pointed at Wan Qian. The young man who once endured humiliation and humiliation now has enthusiastic eyes. The attempt just now has given him great confidence. It's ridiculous, Wan Sha laughed dumbly. He glanced at Wan Qian and said, if you dare to go against me here, if you return to the family, there will be many people who want to destroy you. And that bitch of yours who is still living. Thousands of eyes gradually became stained with blood. No, if I beat you, everything will be different. In exchange for these words, Wan Sha laughed wildly, as if he had heard the biggest joke in the world. On the other side, Lu Dingxing and Bai Shenjin were already besieging Yuhan, and Ruo Xiaoyu was harassing them. Use more to defeat less, you are indeed despicable people. Wan Sha was slightly angry because he could see that Yuhan was severely restricted. No, it only means that we are not stupid, but you are shockingly stupid. Zhang Zizai raised the fire source gun and pointed it at Wan Sha. Wan Qian, come on. Good. Nothing can stop the young man from bursting out of courage at this moment of depression. Wan Qian is no longer the same person. His dignity and everything lies in this battle. Every sound of bitch was pierced by swords on his body. Blade giant scorpion totem. It is said that there are changes similar to those of trolls. At this time, Nwansha directly showed his methods in this regard. The magical power of the totem caused his body to quickly grow jet black armor. The most terrifying thing was that his hands transformed into a pair of giant scorpion pincers, and a sharp and hard scorpion tail stretched out from behind him. It looked like it's quite terrifying, even uglier than Lu Dingxing's troll panda transformation. However, it also looks more terrifying, like a devil. This shape can scare people into silence even before the war starts. For Wan Qian, this look used to be his nightmare. But at this time, he was indeed the one rushing in front of Zhang Zizai. Trash, just trash, Wan Sha shouted angrily, exerting force on his feet, and his whole body was like an arrow from the string, heading towards Wan Qian. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Death, Wan Qian's eyes were like the blood-red starry sky. When Wan Sha got closer, 1,000 feet of light bloomed from them. A ray of red light stained with blood suddenly pierced Wan Sha's eyes. Ah! Wan Sha screamed in pain and quickly closed his eyes. Thousands, he roared ferociously, shaking his head, trying to shake off the severe pain in his eyes. When he opened his eyes, they were completely blinded by a layer of red light. You can only vaguely see Wan Qian in front of you. Go to hell, he really had murderous intentions. Even if he was punished by the Temple of Sacrifice, he now wanted to kill Wan Qian, this rebellious guy. How could a person who had been kneeling in front of him since childhood dare to attack him? Bump. Another red light hit his eyes. Ah! Wan Sha, holding his head with a pair of giant pincers, howled in pain. He asked you, is Tongshu useless? In an instant, Zhang Zizai appeared in front of him. Death, even if Wan Sha couldn't see it, he relied on his perception to estimate Zhang Zizai's position and launch an attack. However, how could he hit Zhang Zizai if he couldn't even see? Bolide gun path. People saw that the fire source gun spread out like flying flowers in Zhang Zizai's hand, and the rapid tip of the gun bloomed wildly in the air, turning into countless flames, and like black meteors, converging into a starry sky, rushing towards that's 10,000 kills. Ding ding ding. For a moment, except for those who resisted with Wan Sha's arms, all the spear points penetrated his skin and pierced a large number of bloody holes in his body. Blood spurted. Snap. Wan Sha knelt on the ground, his head hanging down. Bang. The third ray of red light knocked him out and hit him hard on the ground. Wan Qian rushed forward and held down Wan Sha, who was lying on the ground, with a ferocious look on his face. Let me ask you, am I a waste? His eyes continued to gather red light, and the next attack was about to happen. Zhang Zizai quickly pulled away from him. One more time and he'll be dead. Whoops. Wan Qian gasped and gradually calmed down. In front of him, Wan Sha was covered in blood and fell limply to the ground. He could only breathe. Tears suddenly flowed from his eyes. Boss, I suddenly feel that life is different. Is the feeling of revenge so good? His eyes filled with tears. Zhang Zizai patted his shoulder and smiled slightly. With this time, I am willing to die. He wiped away his tears. Don't talk about dying, you still have to protect the people you care about, Zhang Zizai said. In life, being able to prove yourself is already the greatest happiness. In this battle, not only did Qian prove himself, Bai Shenjin also proved himself, and even Lu Dingxing and Ruo Xiaoyu proved themselves. Zhang Zizai proved himself even more. When Wan Sharan Xue knelt down, on the other side, Ruo Xiaoyu's flower thorn was more difficult to deal with than the opponent's cold poison. She was not at a high level of true energy now. When she was high, it would be even more terrifying. Lu Dingxing was thick-skinned and stood in front of him, while Bai Shenjin was an extraordinarily thief and soon burned all of Yuhan's hair. When Zhang Zizai and the others eliminated Wan Sha, Yuhan had no choice but to admit defeat and beg for mercy, and respectfully presented the god sacrifice flag. Zhang Zizai also took away the sacrificial flag that Wan Qil had been guarding until the end. Let go. Zhang Zizai was condescending. No, Wan Sha couldn't move, but he still persisted. Second pussy. Zhang Zizai slapped him in the face, making him cry and let go. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 100. From today on, don't touch me. If you touch me once, I will beat you once. Zhang Zizai picked up the 12 sacrificial flags. The 5-man team was almost unscathed, but the Black World team had been wiped out. Thousands of people were killed, their eyes wept with blood, and they felt ashamed. People like him will definitely seek revenge later. After this time, is there any way to protect your mother? Zhang Zizai asked. Don't worry, boss, my mother is capable of protecting herself. Zhang Zizai felt relieved. In fact, the elders of the Black World clan would not be too bad to Wan Qian. After all, the leader of the Black World clan only has 2 sons. It's just a junior who looks down on him. This battle, as long as it is passed back, is enough to prove that he is absolutely excellent. It's a pity that if you mix with me, you may be even more ostracized in the family. How dare the Black family go against the royal family? Wan Qian shook his head and said, don't say that, this is the decision I have the least regret in my life. He has no regrets and is on the same path as Zhang Zizai. How could Zhang Zizai not cherish such a friend and brother? It's a good day today, haha. Bai Shenjin also let out a bad breath. Looking at Wan Sha and Yuhan trembling in front of them, he never dreamed that such a day would come to him. 10,000 kills, the Battle of Kiri's Hima will still take a long time. Buy some time and grab some sacrificial flags. When the time comes, bring them to me. I can give you a slap in the face, haha. Zhang Zizai knew that it was after the war, and it was the last word to leave immediately after getting huge gains. Zhang Zizai, Wan Qian. You and I are irreconcilable. Behind him, Wan She roared with blood and tears. Second, save your strength, don't invite the source beast to eat you. This battle has already divided the ranks. Perhaps, given the overall strength of the two teams, Zhang Zizai and the others would lose in a head-on confrontation. But now the outcome is that they have won a great victory. This is because Zhang Zizai will make good use of their team's strengths, especially in the final battle with Wanxia. With Wan Qian, he can easily defeat his opponent. If it weren't for Wan Qian, it would definitely be a hard-fought battle. Both of them make a judgment. A total of 13 sacrificial flags were all in Zhang Zizai's hands, making their team the team with the highest harvest in Kiri's Hima. This is the rhythm Zhang Zizai wants. One exquisite battle and he took the lead. Moreover, it is not easy to recover from the injuries caused by directly knocking down competitors to the bottom, let alone catch up. When they quickly disappeared from sight, a dozen priests and Yuan Qing looked at each other in confusion. The most embarrassing thing among them was of course Ran. He now felt as if he had no clothes on. All the gazes made him feel so embarrassed and ashamed. He saw it all with his own eyes. Even he himself didn't understand why his team was so defeated. Zhu Xian installed the mirror and said softly, "After a wonderful battle, I won't laugh at someone. I hope someone will stop showing off in front of me in the future. Otherwise, when I am embarrassed, I won't be able to do anything. Let someone get in." Ran gritted her teeth and dared not speak. Next to her, Feng Qingxian originally hoped that both sides would suffer losses, but this time, the priest of the person she disliked even more temporarily took the first place. She also looked ugly. Looking at the proud look of the 9 immortals, my heart was filled with fire. My precious disciples are really capable, haha, they are so handsome. She giggled, and her excited look made many older priests and Yuan Qing burst into laughter. Xiao Yushan was also here. He said, "It was a wonderful showdown. The team with stronger control and more outstanding leadership won. It's normal," Ran. What he will give to his disciples in the future is not just the ability to fight. Yes, Xiao Yuan Qing and Ran could only nod awkwardly. He looked back and saw Zhu Xian's smile, which made him feel angry and helpless. Don't be too happy too early. It's still a long time. The mantis stalks the cicada, and the oriole stalks behind. I've seen them use this trick a few times. He whispered to the 9 immortals. Whatever, anyway, I'm happy enough if I torture your priest, la la la, Zhu Xian said. Snored. Ran, let's go. Feng Qingxian didn't want to stay here anymore. No, I still want to reward my babies, Zhu Xian said. Then you and the divine attendant can apply to act alone, Ran sneered. They work in groups of 3, and their opinions can certainly decide where to go. The other priests were also laughing and talking about how awesome they were. With the second son of the Southern King, 2 heaven-level totems, and the 9 immortals priest, is this a profit or a risk? Yuan Qing, a boy-faced boy with gray hair next to Xiao Yushan, asked. We'll see. I heard that you accepted the second son of King Nan as your disciple. His talent in talismans is unprecedented. By the way, I found out that Lu Dingxing has the talent to become a totem spiritual master. Can I recommend it to you tomorrow? You can pull him down. Lu Yuan is about to be beheaded. I dare to accept his son. Coward, Xiao Yushan said disgustedly. Who are you talking about? Are you the only one who is brave? You coward, stop talking to me. Xiao Yushan, aren't you just recruiting disciples? If you dare, why wouldn't I dare? As long as Lu Dingxing has this ability, am I still afraid of him? Haha, blacksmith, I don't think you have the guts. You are not a word seller. The two Yuanqings left in a quarrel. Princess, let's go, the black-skirted woman Qin Zhen said. Okay, Princess Shen Xiao nodded, and the two continued to go in the direction of Zhangzizhe. The 9 gods of Shenjia Yuanqing never said a word from beginning to end, and followed them silently, like a shadow. It was only the 4th day, and they had already harvested 13 sacrificial flags. After all, Zhangzizhe was young, so he was naturally happy. However, they did not get carried away. After a battle, they found a quiet place again. Wanqian was in charge of the surrounding movements, and they sat together. The 13 sacrificial flags were inserted into the ground, which looked particularly spectacular. Didn't the priest say that Xiaoyu was here to be cute? How come her totem is so powerful that Yuhan was entangled with her and cried by Shenjin side? Xiaoyu is a heavenly totem, and now she is only the 7th level of Wuming realm. If she is in Xuanmei realm, 10 Yuhans are not her opponents, Zhangzizhe said. Awesome, your family is full of monsters. Bai Shenjin stuck out his tongue. You are the monster, flying around, Ruo Xiaoyu pouted. I think the one who looks most like a monster is Lu Dingxing, haha. Bai Shenjin patted his thick arms and sighed, my god, he is so strong. After a battle, their 2 original teams merged into one group. It should be said that Bai Shenjin and Wang Qian have completely joined them. Especially Wang Qian, this team is too important to his life. After chatting for a while, Zhangzizhe said, in the next few days, focus on cultivation and maintain the best condition. Then, with Wang Qian's ability, we will select opponents to hunt. Only by getting 50 sacrificial flags can we guarantee the first place. Okay. Now, they all have great confidence in themselves. At night, Zhangzizhe was immersed in cultivation. He had gradually stabilized the Tianfui appointment and was visualizing the totem, looking for the method to open the mysterious veins.